The weapon! The sky was dark, smoke and fire covered the city, the ground was shaking. People were running, screaming, falling, buildings were burning, air was full of fear. Far above, a massive shadow moved through the clouds, a war machine. It was not built by humans. It was made by the Zor Empire, a powerful alien race. Their machines were not just metal and wires. They were alive, powered by something or someone. This machine was different. It was stronger, faster, smarter, and it was killing everything in its path. Soldiers shot at it. Tanks fired missiles, but nothing worked. The war machine moved like a beast. It was hunting, destroying. Inside the machine, hidden deep in its core, was a glass chamber. Inside the chamber was a girl. She was not human. Her skin had a soft glow like blue light underwater. Her eyes were closed. Her body was floating. Wires were connected to her back and arms. Energy moved through the wires like lightning. She was not asleep, she was trapped. The girl was the heart of the weapon. Her name was Lyra. She belonged to a rare alien race, long forgotten by most of the galaxy. Her people could create energy from their minds. They were peaceful, gentle beings. But the Zor Empire found them and turned them into batteries. Lyra had been inside the machine for a long time. She didn't remember her home. She didn't know how many cities she had destroyed. She only felt pain and silence. But something was changing. The machine had taken heavy damage in the last battle. Human forces had used a special weapon, a pulse bomb. It exploded near the machine's head. The systems inside went dark for a moment. And in that moment, Lyra opened her eyes. Far away, in the ruined city, a group of human soldiers were looking for survivors. One of them was Jack Wren, a combat engineer. He was not a hero. He just wanted to do his job and survive. But that day, something pulled him toward the crash site of the Zor weapon. The machine had fallen in a giant crater. Smoke was rising from it. Sparks jumped from its broken arms. Jack walked carefully, scanning with his tool. He expected fire, maybe leftover drones, but he didn't expect what he found. A soft blue light. He followed it through a crack in the machine's chest. He crawled inside. And then he saw her. A girl floating in a glass chamber. Her eyes were closed again. Her body looked weak. Her hair floated around her face. She looked peaceful. Jack whispered, "What the hell is this?" His tool beeped. It showed high energy levels, but no danger. Carefully, he placed his hand on the glass. And then her eyes opened. She looked at him, not with fear, not with anger, but with sadness. Jack stepped back, shocked. "You're alive?" he asked. She moved her lips. No sound came. She tried again, this time a soft whisper, "Help me." Jack didn't know what to do. He looked around. The machine was still hot, still dangerous. But this girl, she was alive, and she was not a machine. He opened his comms. "Command, I found something. Know someone. I think it's inside the Zor weapon." The voice on the other side said, "Is it a threat?" Jack looked at the girl. She was trying to sit up. Her eyes glowed softly. "I don't think so," he replied. She's not like them." The voice answered, "Stay where you are. A retrieval team is coming." But Jack felt uneasy. The girl touched the glass. Her fingers glowed. The glass melted slowly, opening just enough. She reached out. Jack hesitated, then he took her hand. Suddenly, a wave of images hit his mind. Explosions, screams, stars, her memories, her pain, her story. He saw her people, her world, her prison. He gasped and pulled back. She looked weak now. Her glow was fading. Jack whispered, "What did they do to you?" She looked at him and said one word with tears in her glowing eyes. "Run." Suddenly, alarms started to beep. The machine systems were waking up. Somewhere in its body, lights turned red. The war machine was still alive. And now it knew she was free. The night was quiet. The fires had stopped. The city slept under a broken sky. Only a few stars could be seen through the smoke. Jack sat near the crashed war machine, watching the strange girl breathe slowly. She was wrapped in a heat blanket, still weak. He had pulled her out from the core and carried her across the ruins. He didn't know why. Orders were clear, report anything alien, but something inside him said, don't let them take her. She had trusted him. Now she lay on the cold ground, her blue skin glowing faintly. Her name was still unknown. But to Jack, she already felt real, not a weapon, not an alien, just a girl who had suffered too much. He looked at her and whispered, "Are you okay?" Her eyes opened slowly. Bright, deep, not human, but not cold. She blinked once, then twice, trying to focus. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice soft like wind through glass. "Safe," Jack said, "for now." She sat up slowly, her body shaking. Jack offered her water. She didn't take it. Instead, she placed her hand on the bottle. The water started to glow. Jack stared. "You did that?" She nodded. "My kind, we don't eat or drink like you. We take what is already there and make it pure." Jack didn't understand, but he didn't push. He just said, "What's your name?" She looked down, silent for a moment, then replied, "Lyra." "A strange name, beautiful, sad." Jack smiled slightly. "I'm Jack, you know where you are." She looked at the ruined city, the broken sky, the giant dead machine behind them. "Far from home," she whispered. "Too far." As the night grew colder, Lyra began to speak more, bit by bit, like opening an old, locked door. "My people lived in light," she said. "We did not build ships, we did not make war, we sang to the stars and they sang back." Jack listened quietly. He didn't want to interrupt. "One day the Zor came. They heard our songs and turned them into screams. They found something in us, something no one else had." "Energy?" Jack asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, living energy. They put us in machines, said we were clean power." She looked away. "We became part of their war like fuel." Her voice trembled. "We couldn't fight back, not because we were weak, but because we believed no one should suffer, even them." Jack clenched his fists. "That's why they used you, because they knew you wouldn't fight." She nodded, "And now I don't know how to be anything else." Suddenly her head jerked up. Her eyes glowed bright. "They're close." Jack stood quickly. "What do you mean?" Lyra pointed toward the dark sky. "The Zor left trackers in the machines. They always come back to collect what's left." Jack cursed under his breath. "We need to move." He helped her stand. She was still weak, but there was a power inside her, sleeping, waiting. As they moved through the rubble, Jack asked, "If you have so much power, why can't you fight them?" She looked down. "Because the power is not mine, it's a gift from the stars. I was never taught how to use it freely, only how to survive inside pain." Jack stopped. "Then maybe it's time someone teaches you how to fight back." She looked at him not with hope but confusion. "You would help me? Why?" He smiled. "Because I'm human, and humans don't like bullies." They found an old underground shelter. It was broken but quiet. Inside, Lyra touched a wall and soft blue light spread around them. The shelter came alive, lights flickered, machines started humming. Jack looked surprised. "You can power tech." "Some," she said, "but it burns my memory when I do." "Wait, what do you mean?" Lyra looked at him, her voice cracked. "Every time I give energy, I lose a piece of who I am. That's how they made us weapons. The more we powered their war, the more we forgot ourselves." Jack looked at her, stunned. "You're telling me they erased your mind to fuel their empire?" She nodded. Jack stepped back, shaking his head. "This isn't war, this is slavery." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed above. A drone, black and silent, hovered outside the shelter. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's here." Jack grabbed his weapon. "We fight." Lyra held his arm. "No, let me try." She stepped out, faced the drone. Her hands shook, but her eyes burned with quiet fire. She raised one hand slowly, and the drone stopped midair. It began to shake, lights blinked, then it fell dead. Lyra turned, exhausted. "I didn't destroy it, I just made it forget why it was here." Jack stared in awe. "You're not a weapon," he said. "You're a miracle." Morning light touched the broken city. Ash floated like snow in the air. Buildings stood like skeletons. No birds, no voices, only silence. Inside an abandoned train tunnel, Jack and Lyra were hiding. Jack checked his pulse rifle. No charge left, just metal in his hands now. He looked at Lyra. She sat on the ground, eyes closed, breathing slow. Her body still glowed, but dim, like a candle almost out. "You okay?" Jack asked. "I'm tired," she replied softly. "The drone yesterday, I used too much energy. I need time." Jack nodded, but they didn't have time. Because the Zor weren't the only ones hunting them now. Earlier that morning, a coded human transmission had gone out. Unconfirmed SIGHTING, XOR tech plus biosignature. Possible alien intel. Priority, secure or eliminate. Command didn't know who Lyra was. They only saw a risk. Now a squad of human soldiers was moving through the ruins. Quiet, fast, trained to kill. Their leader, Captain Reese, held up a hand. He pointed at tracks in the dirt, one set of boots, one set barefoot. He smiled coldly. Found you. Back in the tunnel, Lyra suddenly gasped. Her eyes flashed open. They're close, she said, but not Zor. Jack's face turned pale. Humans. She nodded. Yes, but they feel like hunters, like they've already decided I'm dangerous. Jack stood, then we run. Lyra tried to stand but stumbled. Jack caught her. She whispered, leave me, I'll slow you down. He looked her in the eyes. We leave together or not at all. She stared at him, shocked. No one ever said that to me. He smiled, well, get used to it. They moved through the train tunnels, past broken tracks and fallen signs. Jack knew the layout. He had been stationed in this city before the war, but the soldiers chasing them knew it too. Footsteps echoed behind, voices, orders. Jack whispered, we have 5 minutes, maybe less. He stopped beside an old access panel. Wait, I've got an idea. He opened the panel, rewired 2 fuses, and the tunnel lights exploded with brightness, bright enough to blind the chasers for a few seconds. They ran again, but the soldiers were fast, too fast. Captain Reese spotted them on a drone feed. Visual on target, alien confirmed, fire on sight. They opened fire. Bullets ripped through walls. One hit near Lyra's foot, she cried out. Jack pulled her behind an old metal door. We need cover. But the soldiers kept coming. Flashbangs, smoke, orders. Lyra's breathing got faster. Her hands began to glow, not blue now, but white, like a star waking up. Jack saw it and panicked. Lyra, stop, you'll burn out again. But Lyra was shaking. I can't stop, she said. My body, it's reacting to fear, it's trying to protect me. Jack grabbed her face. You're not a machine, you're not a tool. You control your power, not the fear. Her breathing slowed. The glow faded back to blue. She nodded. Okay, I'm ready. Suddenly, a soldier kicked the door open. Jack fired nothing. The rifle was dead. The soldier raised his weapon. But before he could shoot, his body froze in midair, held by an invisible force. His eyes went wide. What are you? Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was calm. I'm not yours. She closed her hand, and the soldier dropped unconscious. Jack blinked. You didn't kill him. No, she said. I made him dream he'll wake in a few hours. Jack couldn't believe it. She had all this power and still chose mercy. They escaped through a water pipe deep into the lower city, for now safe. Inside a quiet maintenance room, Jack sat beside Lyra. You saved me, he said. She looked at him. No, you saved me first. He smiled. You always talk like that. Lyra tilted her head. Like what? Like someone who's seen more than one lifetime. She looked away. Maybe I have. Then she touched the wall beside her. Energy flowed from her hand, soft, silver-blue lines spread like veins across the metal. Symbols appeared, alien letters, glowing. Jack watched, speechless. What is that? He asked. Lyra answered slowly. A map, a memory, a message left by others like me. Jack stood. There are more of you. Lyra looked into his eyes. Yes, and they're still in the machines. Jack froze. You mean? Yes, she said. I'm not the last, I'm just the first to escape. Jack stood in the old train station, staring at the glowing alien map Lyra had created on the wall. The lines were slowly fading now, like a memory slipping away. He traced one glowing path with his hand. You said there are others, still trapped, still powering the Zor machines. Lyra nodded. She looked tired. Her skin had lost most of its glow. They sleep like I did, locked inside weapons, forgotten, used. Jack looked at her, confused. Why didn't you tell me this before? Her voice was soft. Because you weren't ready to choose. Jack blinked. Choose what? Lyra walked slowly toward the center of the room. Her footsteps were light, almost like air. She placed her hand on the floor and a new light spread, this time forming a star map. Dozens of red dots appeared, each one marked a location. This is how many of us are still prisoners, she said. Jack stared, eyes wide. That's too many. Lyra looked at him, pain in her voice. The Zor Empire is built on us. We are the power behind every weapon, every drone, every warship. If we are freed, the war stops. Jack shook his head. You're saying I could stop the war? Me? I'm just an engineer. Lyra stepped closer. No, you're more than that now. You have the map, you have me, but the choice is yours. Suddenly, Jack's radio crackled to life. Sergeant Wren, this is command. We have your position. Stand by for evac. Jack stepped back, panicked. He turned the radio off. They found us. Lyra's face was calm. Then they will come. You must decide before they do. Jack felt pulled in two directions. On one side, Earth orders duty. His people were fighting to survive. They would do anything to win, even use Lyra. On the other side, this girl. This quiet, powerful girl who had suffered alone. Her people were not soldiers, they were just used like machines. What if freeing you kills thousands? Jack asked. What if it lets the Zor strike harder? Lyra looked down. Then your war will go on and I will return to a cage and nothing will change. Jack ran his hand through his hair. He looked at the map, at her. And then at himself. He remembered all the times he had followed orders. No questions, no doubts. But now he felt something: guilt, hope, fear, and something more. Responsibility. He looked at Lyra. If I help you, what do we do first? She blinked. We go to the place where I was made into a weapon, the factory, the forge. Jack asked, can we destroy it? Lyra shook her head. No, but we can break the link. If I enter it again with you beside me, I can find the others. But it's suicide, Jack said. The Zor will protect it. Yes, she said. That's why no one ever tried. Suddenly, a boom shook the station. Dust fell from the ceiling. Jack grabbed his weapon. Lyra's eyes widened. It's not Zor. Above them, a speaker crackled. Jack RENN, surrender the alien OR face termination. It was Captain Reese. Jack looked at Lyra. They want to take you. She smiled sadly. They don't see me, only my energy. Jack clenched his jaw. Then they'll have to go through me. The station doors exploded open. Smoke rolled in. Red lasers lit up the air. Lyra stood beside Jack. This is your choice, Jack. Do you go with them or with me? He looked down at the radio in his hand, then crushed it under his boot. We're going to the forge. Scene shift hours later. The camera would now cut to a black space station orbiting a dying planet, glowing red lines across its surface. A voice inside says, Subject 12 has escaped. Map activated. Human assistance confirmed. Status breach imminent. And then a figure made of pure shadow appears. Send the obsidian unit. If she reaches the forge, everything ends. The forge wasn't just a building. It was a living machine. Floating above a dead world, the giant station pulsed like a heart in the void. Long black arms reached towards space, collecting broken satellites, dead ships, and life. At its center, a core of blue light, bright but painful to look at. That was where they took beings like Lyra. That was where they were turned. Jack and Lyra stood inside a stolen drop pod, hidden beneath old transport codes. The pod shook as it passed the forge's outer scanner. Jack gripped the console. You sure this will work? Lyra, calm as ever, placed her hand on the panel. Her energy flowed through the system, rewriting its code like an artist painting over blood. They won't notice us, she said. Not yet. Jack took a breath. All right, one shot. The pod clunked into the docking bay. Silence. They stepped out into darkness. The forge's walls were smooth, black, and alive. They breathed like lungs. Every hallway hummed with alien whispers. Machines floated silently above them, watching, waiting. Jack kept his weapon close. Lyra walked ahead, barefoot. The floor lit up under her steps, reacting to her. This place knew her. It remembered. I was made here, she said softly. They tore my name from me and gave me a number 12. Jack looked around. What did they do to you? She didn't answer. Instead, she reached a strange doorway shaped like an eye. She placed her palm on it. It opened with a sound like a scream. Inside was a long chamber. In the middle, a giant glowing cylinder filled with blue liquid. Inside it, a girl floated. blue-skinned, eyes closed. Just like Lyra. Jack stepped back. That's another one. Lyra nodded. Her name was Kale. We used to sing to the stars together. She was taken first. I never saw her again until now. Jack looked at her. We can break her out, let's do it. But Lyra didn't move, her eyes filled with pain. She's not sleeping, Jack. She's erased. Her mind was used to power 10 war machines. There's nothing left of her. Jack's throat tightened. Why show me this? Lyra whispered, so you understand what I'm fighting for and what we're about to stop. Suddenly, alarms blared. Unauthorized presence detected. Internal memory breach. They were found. Lyra turned to Jack. We have minutes. I need to reach the central core. That's where the link is, the one that binds all of us together. Jack grabbed his weapon. Let's run. They raced through the halls. Machines swarmed behind them, silent drones with blades and light cannons. The forge was awake now, angry. Jack shot one out of the air, but more came. Lyra raised her hand, and the lights exploded. The machines fell, frozen in time. But she dropped to one knee. I'm burning too fast. Jack lifted her, then I'll carry you. At last they reached it. The core room. A massive sphere floated in zero gravity, covered in light cables, glowing with a storm of colors. Inside it, thousands of faces flickered across the surface, alien, human, unknown. Jack stared. What is this? Lyra stepped forward, her voice shaking. Memories, all the ones they took, all the lives used to power their war. Jack looked closer, and among the flickers he saw his brother. Frozen, mouth open, eyes afraid. No, 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 no. Lyra gasped. You didn't know. Jack dropped his weapon. He was listed as MIA. They told us he died in space. Lyra placed her hand on his shoulder. He didn't die, he was taken like us. Jack looked at the glowing core. So if we break it? Lyra nodded. We free them, all of them, but we also shut down the Zor's entire war network. Jack looked into her eyes. What happens to you? She didn't speak. That was his answer. The room shook violently. A new figure stepped in, tall, dark, wearing a crown of fire. The Obsidian Unit. Subject 12, it said. You are not authorized to remember. Jack raised his weapon. The unit spoke again. Human, step aside. This does not concern you. Jack stood firm. It concerns me now. Lyra stepped toward the core. The Obsidian Unit raised its arm, light weapon charging. But Jack jumped between them. No. A blast hit him full force. He fell. Lyra screamed. Time slowed. Her glow turned white gold. Everything in the forge, every wire, every wall shook like an earthquake. She floated upward, arms out, face glowing like a star. I remember. She touched the core, light exploded. The forge screamed. Memories flew like birds from cages, names returned, pain disappeared. And the war stopped. Scene fades. Later in silence, Jack woke up half-burned, weak. Lyra sat beside him, no longer glowing. I thought I lost you, he whispered. You saved me, she said. He smiled. What now? She looked out the window. We go find the others. And we make sure no one ever forgets us again. The forge was gone. Not destroyed, emptied. From a distance, it looked like a black shell floating in space. No light, no sound, no more screams inside it. And across the galaxy, things began to change. Earth Command, day 1 after the forge collapse. General Rhodes slammed his fist on the table. Who authorized this mission? Who let Ren take an alien into Zor territory? The room was silent. One young officer stood up. Sir, Jack didn't disobey orders, he made a new one. Rhodes stared him down. We are soldiers, we don't make choices, we follow them. But then the room's lights flickered. And every screen went white. Then came a voice, calm, layered, ancient. We have awakened. Thousands of screens showed images. Blue-skinned children smiling, cities long destroyed, songs sung in strange languages. The forgotten ones were speaking. Not in anger, not in war. But in memory. Orbit, Lyra, and Jack aboard a stolen Zor scout ship. Jack looked out the window at the stars, quiet. Lyra sat beside him, weaker than before. Her glow had almost faded. "You okay?" he asked. "I feel heavy," she whispered, like a mountain remembering how to cry. Jack smiled. "That's poetic." She looked at him. "It's how we think, in shapes, in sounds, in feelings. We don't talk like humans." Jack stared at her for a long moment. "You're not a weapon anymore." Lyra nodded. "I never was, I just forgot who I used to be." Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped. Jack looked at the screen. His face went pale. Oh no! A Zor mothership was ahead, 10 times larger than anything they'd seen, floating like a god. "No weapons charged," Jack said. "They're just watching." Lyra stepped forward. "I need to go," she said. Jack stood. "What? No, you just got free." "They're not here to fight, they're curious." Inside the Zor mothership, Lyra stood before a council of beings, unlike anything Jack had ever seen. Not machines, not monsters, but ancient creatures, part organic, part energy, eyes like galaxies, movements like fog. They called themselves the Architects. "You were not meant to return," one said. "You were designed to burn." Lyra answered without fear. "You made us to power your war, but you forgot we were alive." Another architect floated closer. "And now we remember, the silence is broken." They all turned to Jack. "You helped her awaken. Why?" Jack didn't speak for a moment. Then, "Because someone had to." The council was quiet. Then the lead architect said, "Then you are part of this awakening, too." Earth broadcast, day 3 after the Forge collapse. All human channels were hacked. A message played. It was Lyra. Her face was tired but clear. "I am one of many. We were used, forgotten, buried in silence. Now we are free, but we do not seek revenge, we seek memory. Remember us, and we will remember you." Then the screen turned black. No threats, no commands. Just silence. Underground, human rebel zone. Children gathered around a new kind of screen. It didn't show war. It showed stories. Of Lyra's people, of stars with music, of cities made from light. An old man smiled. "So not monsters, not weapons." "No," said the child. "They're songs we stopped listening to." 1 week later, Jack sat alone in a field of tall grass. Lyra floated nearby, barely glowing now. Her body looked more human than before, soft, small, fragile. Jack whispered, "Is this the end?" She shook her head. "No, this is the echo. The world is listening, finally." Suddenly, the grass around them began to shimmer, and out of the earth, new voices rose. Blue lights, silhouettes. Others like Lyra, slowly appearing. One of them stepped forward, a boy maybe 12, glowing softly. "I heard your song," he said to Lyra. "It brought me back." Jack stood shocked. "They're waking up." Lyra smiled, weak but proud. "Yes, all across the galaxy, the forgotten are returning." Final shot. In the heart of the Zor Empire, a dark lab sits empty. But far below it, something moves. A hand, blue skin, eyes opening, and a single word is whispered. "Mother." The stars were quiet again. But not dead. Just listening. In the days after Lyra's message reached across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. On dead moons, lights appeared. Old machines stopped firing. Even Earth satellites received signals they didn't send. The architects said nothing, but something inside them had changed. For the first time, they were afraid. Somewhere beyond known space, Jack stood on the edge of a forgotten planet. The sky was purple, cracked with floating islands. Behind him, Lyra sat near a calm pool of water. She had become something new, not human, not alien, just light in the shape of memory. Jack crouched beside her. "They're waking up faster now," he said. "You called to them." "No," she replied softly. "They remembered on their own. I only gave them a voice." He looked up at the stars. "But what happens now?" Earth Council emergency meeting. The humans had lost control. Weapons stopped responding. Satellites changed course. AI systems began speaking in poetry as if infected with a new language. General Rhodes pounded the table. This is an alien virus. They've infected our machines. But Dr. Myra, young, quiet, a linguist, stood slowly. It's not a virus, she said. It's a song. Rhodes growled, what? She played a sound on her tablet. A simple hum, soft, echoing. It wasn't just data. It was feeling. Regret, hope, memory. They're not destroying us, Myra said. They're reminding us of what we forgot. The child, on the edge of a ruined Zor city, a blue-skinned child with glowing eyes wandered alone. He wasn't from Lyra's world. He wasn't from Earth either. He was something new. Half memory, half human, born from the last light of the forge. He looked up at the sky. His eyes saw both past and future. And he spoke a word no one understood. Yet everyone felt it. Return. The architect's final judgment. In their silent chamber, the architects watched the child's signal ripple across dimensions. He is not one of ours, one said. He is beyond our design, said another. Then the oldest one whispered. He is the cost of forgetting. Jack and Lyra, the final decision. Jack stood on the same platform where he first found Lyra. The stars overhead were full now, glowing with new voices. Lyra floated beside him, her form flickered. I'm fatting, Jack, she said. My light is spent. Jack grabbed her hand. There has to be a way. There is, she said, but you won't like it. She looked into his eyes. If you let me go, my memory becomes part of the universe. A signal, a code written into the stars themselves. It will guide others forever. He held her tighter, and if I do, then I stay with you, she whispered, but the others stay lost. Jack's voice cracked. I'm not ready to lose you. You never had to keep me, she smiled. You just had to remember me. He stepped back and let go. Her light rose into the sky like dust, like song, like time itself leaving the body. She became a constellation. Years later, Earth, now a different world. Children in schools learned a new language, the star tongue, a mix of feeling, color, and rhythm. Machines no longer served war. They grew food, healed oceans, built harmony. Jack, old now, walked through a garden glowing with soft blue lights. A child ran up to him, blue-eyed, curious. Is the song real? The boy asked. Jack smiled, pointing to the sky. She's up there. And down here. In you. In everyone who listens. Final scene, deep space. The child from the Zor ruins now sat on a silver ship, floating toward the edge of the galaxy. His eyes glowed, not with power, with understanding. Behind him, the stars hummed softly. Not music, not memory, but something new. Hope. And then, he whispered, begin. Sparkles the end sparkles.